Welcome, everyone, to episode number 105 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co host, Dr. Games 101.
Hello, people.
And tonight we're going to do what we do every couple of weeks, go over the gaming news and give our thoughts on it. Are you ready
Indeed.
to start with the first story tonight?
Indeed, my friend Triple J.
Okay, so let's start and see where this goes. Video game layoffs sadly continue with more cuts at Ubisoft. The Skype box is going to get in the way, so I just have to put it over here. 2024 has been a brutal year with more than 10,000 video game jobs lost so far. The video game industry layoff trend continues as Ubisoft has cut 45 jobs across its teams in San Francisco, California, and Cary, North Carolina this week. A spokesperson for Ubisoft confirmed to Bloomberg that the company made the difficult yet necessary decision to lay off staffers in an effort to align these studio organizations with their future business and development objectives. Those who lost their jobs will get severance payment and outplacement support. Back in April this year, Ubisoft eliminated 45 jobs across other divisions. GameSpot has contacted Ubisoft in an attempt to get more details on these cuts. These cuts appear to stem from Ubisoft's ongoing cost reduction plan to help improve profitability and appease investors. The cuts at Ubisoft haven't stretched beyond. San Francisco was founded in 2009 and had about 5 employees prior to this reduction. The office included a variety of job categories, including marketing, sales, business development, communications, finance, licensing, creative, and game development. Ubisoft San Francisco created the Rocksmith series and also South Park: The Fractured Butthole. The studio is now working on the ongoing support of Rocksmith and X-Defiant. The team in Cary, North Carolina, meanwhile, is known as Red Storm. It was founded in 1996 by author Tom Clancy and is perhaps best known for its work on the Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six franchises. This team was working on the Division Heartland until it was canceled earlier this year. So let's look at comments. Dragon Mike goes, of course, lay off all the people with smaller salary. It's a funny thing they could get the same or better results by laying off one of the people in management that have retardedly large salaries, but that would make sense, so of course they don't do that. And Guitar Warrior 86 goes, no wonder since the whole industry is switching to AIs because of it, and no wonder characters have such dialogues. Are you okay? The weather is not nice. Malacca then. Let's eat some meat. Where's my ship? Did you check on the bodies? Oh my Malacca. While NPCs says it while dancing. So, what do you think of more layoffs coming from Ubisoft?
It is of no surprise, and for the last almost it's been a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Layoffs we've been going through and reporting on since then, and Microsoft themselves might lay off about 1,900 workers the other year, if not
Yep.
earlier this year. So it is continuing to do so, and I'm surprised that that people are not seeing this outside of the gaming industry, well, the economists and economic experts, stuff like that, because whatever's going on in the game industry also reflects on what's going on in the real world, too. And there's been lots of layoffs and lots of cutbacks on certain companies as well. They've been doing for a good year now. And it's not going to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, it's going to keep continuing to do so.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Ubisoft. It's don't forget weren't they supposed to create the first ever quadruple A game?
Yeah, what was
Uh,
that Skull and Bones game, I think it was called?
Hold on one moment. Huh? Okay. My my uncle was just giving me some mail that I didn't see earlier.
No problem.
So yeah, so I mean, but anyway, you knew Ubisoft was talking out of their ass when they said we're going to make the first ever quadruple A game, and it turned out to be a big nothing.
Were they ones that made the game Skulls and Bones? Or Bones and Skulls, whatever it's called?
something like that. And it was like a fart in the wind. It happened, and then nothing after it for a long time. It's like, what was all this big hype about? And the thing is, Ubisoft, they don't have to be doing this. They said they're doing it to cut costs. Maybe you'd be bringing more money in if your games were actually good. I mean,
Well,
this is the company that screwed up Assassin's Creed. I played the last Assassin's Creed. I think it was Valhalla or Odyssey on Game Pass. Those games are chore to play.
it's all about microtransactions, pretty much. If you have the money, you can get by in those games.
I don't mind grinding because we were brought up with Final Fantasy games and like I love Chrono Trigger. I like Chrono Cross, although haven't played it as much.
Likewise.
So we grew up with games. Don't forget Final Fantasy 13, which I think gets a lot more hate than it deserves. Um, but that's I can go on with all these role playing games where you need to grind if you want to stand a chance later on in the game.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, but how do you make people like who grew up with those games find Assassin's Creed boring?
Mm,
And not to mention, it's not like Assassin's Creed was always that bad. I mean, Black Flag was okay.
the best one I hear is Black Flag.
I hated that one mission though that you probably never got up to.
Yeah, I'm only 3% to the game.
Well, I don't remember. Well, this was hours into the game, so I'm pretty sure you didn't get there yet. But
Yeah.
it was just a sneaking mission that you couldn't get seen while sneaking, and then at the end of the mission, you end up getting caught anyway. But you had to get caught when Ubisoft wanted you to get caught. They, Assassin's Creed Rogue, liked Syndicate, I loved. But it's kind of like after that, they just kind of kept going down in quality. And the Tom Clancy games, the only one I really didn't like was Rainbow Six, or I think Rainbow Six 2, because you had to while you were controlling one guy, you had to consistently command the other guy what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was like, this is not how you play as two people.
And if we can speak back on Assassin's Creed, all says Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity. I heard since Unity has been going down since then in the games of Assassin's Creed, in quality that is. So I can understand where you come from, Triple J, about the matter that it's been going down in quality with the microtransactions and the acting in the games and all. So.
And Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Blacklist. I played Splinter Cell all the way through, loved it. Almost played it all the way through a second time on stream.
How about Wildlands? Did you play that one?
If I did, it was only once on Game Pass.
Okay, I haven't just played that game yet, and it's on Game Pass. That's my check.
Okay, so I might have played that one on Game Pass, but I never played all the way. I played like a couple hours into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the resume of Ubisoft, and they can't. And meanwhile, they just have to keep laying people off.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I can move on.
Okay. Next. Hold on. Next. Call of Duty's ungodly download sizes are finally getting smaller.
Yay.
Black Ops 6 won't require a Warzone installation on console and PC. Activision has heard the bowels of pain every time someone tries to download a new Call of Duty game, and the publisher is finally doing something about it. Players won't have to install Warzone alongside Call of Duty Black Ops 6 when it launches this October, drastically reducing the game's size on PS5 and other platforms from launcher Call of Duty's HQ current footprint of roughly 175 gigabytes. Wow.
Damn.
As we look ahead to Call of Duty Black Ops 6, we've been working on ways to improve the Call of Duty experience by optimizing menu navigation and offering smaller and more customized downloads, plus other benefits for your Call of Duty library, Activision announced in a blog post today ahead of Warzone's upcoming Season 5 Reload update. We've heard your feedback, and along with our own testing and learnings, have worked to optimize the way players success and download Call of Duty. This begins by revamping the experience formerly known as Call of Duty HQ. All right, so continue reading. The publisher is promising a more streamlined experience, direct access to games, and more control over what gets downloaded, and further reduce file sizes overall. Call of Duty HQ, the popular military shooter's current one-size-fits-all launcher, requires players to download tons of stuff they don't want to access, a new campaign or multiplayer mode, and then delete the rest later. The new approach will require a big download initially, starting August 21st, and Activision reorganizes the Call of Duty HQ content ahead of the Black Ops 6 beta later this month on August 30th, but will eventually result in players being able to install exactly what they want without eating up half of their PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series storage. The biggest change is that Call of Duty Warzone, the free-to-play Battle Royale mode, will exist as completely separate download from Modern Warfare 3 and later when it launches Black Ops 6. Activision didn't break down exactly what the file sizes will be for the games of that point for the initial updates. Players need to reinstall to re-optimize Call of Duty HQ, but it did share how big the standalone Black Ops 6 beta will be on every platform. The biggest is 80 gigabytes on PS5, and the smallest is to 66 gigabytes on Steam. Players have long complained about how chaotic and ugly the Call of Duty HQ experience is, and what a pain it's been trying to make room for ever bigger sequels on their hard drive, especially when big new updates rivaling the size of most average games are added on top of the existing space requirements. This peaked in absurdity earlier this year when the Black Ops 6 Microsoft Store page revealed a total size of 399.85 gigabytes
God
for the
damn.
upcoming game. Activision quickly clarified that the number in question included Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 3 Black Ops 6, and Warzone. Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Thank God that didn't come October 25th. Players won't have to fiddle with any of that nonsense anymore. I'm sure it'll be an incredibly smooth handoff with no further wrinkles or issues. So, what do you think about? Because you played the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 3 reboot. So, what do you think of these new smaller download sizes?
Actually, Triple J actually played only Modern Warfare 2019, Modern Warfare 2 2022, and if I really wanted to, I could play Modern Warfare 3 2023 as well if I put my mind to it. But I just didn't play it yet because of download size and all. Because you're right about one thing, it's over 200 gigabytes for just downloading between these two games, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the Modern Warfare games of today. And I'm telling you, man, it's fucking a nightmare if you try to put everything, all the Call of Duty games together, like the Black Ops 2020, with Black Ops Cold War, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2019. No, it's a fucking nightmare. And like you said, it was over almost 400 gigabytes for all these games. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, man. I can't do that for my consoles. Of course, yes, I can dedicate. I have two Xbox consoles, one for my bedroom, one for my living room. I can't dedicate like my living room console to Call of Duty games, obviously, which I did. But I had to worry about Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 3, and also other games like that of what's it called, Sword and Dance, and other games like that. So you got Xbox and the makers of Call of Duty gotta understand, like you can't dedicate everything to just the Call of Duty games alone. There's more than like about what 1,000 games I could choose from on my account alone. So imagine that with the average, customer base, the consumer, the average gamer, probably have like more than like 200 games to choose from, and they don't want to be like spending how much money in external hard drive space just to play Call of Duty games. So
Yeah, I mean, that nearly 400 gigabytes. That's over half of an Xbox. Well, I'm using Xbox One. Xbox One, the base model that I got back like almost 10 years ago.
half a
That's
terabyte.
no, my Xbox One size actually was 747 point 7 gigabytes when I first got it.
Okay.
Um, but 400 gigabytes, that's more than half um, for four games. It's like you said, it's ridiculous how I can't believe how big these file sizes have gotten. Um,
And it's not just other. It's not just Call of Duty. It's also the games in general too. Especially the AAA titles like that. What's it called? Halo. Then I mentioned like Kane Lynch. Well, not Kane Lynch. Like basically those type of style level of games, those blockbuster games you see over the last 10 years at least on Xbox One alone. So those games you gotta worry about too. So
Yeah, but I mean, could you imagine this? I mean, could you imagine like call? Could you imagine this like a 300 gigabyte game, um, just like waiting to download on release day or the night of or the night before release night? It's like you're gonna be the whole day of release day is just gonna be downloading the game.
yeah, especially if you're a brand new gamer to Call of Duty itself, good luck trying to download all three games: Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. You know.
Yeah. So again, just better to go back to retro at this point. But
Oh yeah.
also, I really don't think Modern Warfare 2 or 3 remake is, from a campaign standpoint, is better than the first Modern Warfare 2 or 3 that we got back in during the 360 days.
Oh yeah.
You know, and there you didn't have to download a game and wait 10 hours, 20 hours to try it out. So,
Yeah, the disc and everything else between.
yeah, so um just wow, I mean, I couldn't believe those file sizes when I saw it.
Yep, that's how it is for me for the last several months, or not a couple of years now, because, when Modern Warfare 2 2022 came out, it was about at least 125 gigabytes of download everything from the content packs to the multiplayer pack to the campaign pack to the special ops pack, you name it. It was crazy. And it was like that with Modern Warfare 2019 as well at one point, too. So imagine that game, too. So,
Yeah. But I mean, you know, the whole appeal, or the only appeal really left, um, is, you know, you can play your Xbox One or your PS5 or PS4 at this point, or Xbox Series, and you can have like a whole bunch of games to choose from that you don't have to get up and, you know, like with your PS2 or your N64, where you have to, you know, switch out every game every time you want to play something different. At this point, it's almost, with these file sizes, it's almost like that appeal is going. Oh,
hmm.
you can download one game at a time, three games at a time, five games at a time. It's like, what's the point?
Unless they gotta do cloud game in the future for the Call of Duty games, at least that make it more customizable and commendable, like just make it more uh, 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 um, properly user friendly. Because I rather
But,
have cloud gaming for at least half of my Call of Duty games than just try to down all the Call of Duty games with the disk space,
but I mean, cloud gaming, that brings up another thing. What about people who don't have good internet or fast internet?
I forgot about that part too.
I do have fast internet, and reliable internet, but there are people like in the Midwest who just don't have a good internet service regardless.
Yeah, those are Kansas and Nebraska, that area, the Midwest pretty much area. Yeah, definitely that.
So it's kind of like those people are shit out of luck no matter what they do.
Unless you get satellite internet, which I heard that's even worse than regular internet from Verizon or Comcast.
Yeah, not a lot of people use satellite for TV. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, at least the Call of Duty sizes, they're finally bringing them back to something that's somewhat manageable.
All they have to do, Triple J and guys out there, all of them are what Microsoft, the Call of Duty makers, anyone with any game with like a large disk space can have it compressed the crap out of it. Like update the systems, update the consoles, update the disk space altogether, and then within a matter of a few weeks, from now, it will work well. But if they better put their mind to it though, right now, to fix that matter for future games.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, at least they're getting smaller. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on.
Okay. Next. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is reportedly coming to PlayStation 5. The game is currently a Microsoft exclusive. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is reportedly not going to stay as an Xbox and PC exclusive for too long. According to YouTuber Nate the Hate, the game will be released in December for Xbox and PC, but also on the PlayStation sometime during the first half of 2025. Insider Gaming corroborated the report, claiming that some outliers have been given this announcement under signed NDAs. Currently, it's unknown whether this will be announced at Gamescom night live opening night live tomorrow. Last year, Microsoft confirmed that the game was actually exclusive for Xbox and PC as Bethesda amended its multi platform console deal with Disney post acquisition. However, as Microsoft has already bought games like Sea of Thieves and Hi Fi Rush to other competing platforms, Microsoft is also reportedly also considering bringing over games like Starfield and Indiana Jones. Gamescom Opening Night Live 2024 airs on August 20th at 11 a.m. 2 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern in Cologne, Germany. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has been confirmed to appear during the event, so it's possible we'll see the announcement there. So let's get some comments. Double MK goes, great, smart choice if they want to make more money. And Simon the Kid 7 goes in response, yeah, but look at it from the Microsoft perspective. They financed a medium-sized studio in Uppsala, Sweden, to develop a new AAA Indiana Jones game for years. The license probably was not free either. Meanwhile, they go and buy rights to Call of Duty. Call of Duty sucks up all the air on Xbox, and hardly anyone buys Indiana Jones just on Xbox. It is the risk, and they do not need Indiana Jones to sell Game Pass subscriptions either. Call of Duty Biop 6 or Blop 6 sells Game Passes on its own, sort of, and they have a few more promising games as well. So, in order to at least get a return of the investment for all the money spent on developing Indiana Jones and getting licensed to make an Indiana Jones game, they might need to release it on PlayStation 5 as well. But at the same time, the more stuff they release on PS5, the less reason to buy an Xbox. I think from a business standpoint, they might do the right thing to release it on PS5 and maybe Switch too. But Xbox players might get a bit mad if they bought a console which ends up with fewer and fewer real exclusives each year, as time exclusive is not a real exclusive. But from a business standpoint, I am able to understand why Microsoft behaves the way they do. Every company needs to try to get at least a return on their investments. I think Indiana Jones is the kind of title which might be well received, but maybe not a title people go out and buy an Xbox to be able to play. And Janovish Child says to Simon the Kid, good comment. I am all for exclusives, so this is the best driver of competition between platforms, publishers, and developers. Even with the PlayStation exclusive games that come to PC, the decision was a smart one for them all, saying that SM Horizon, GW, FF7, etc., that those games had become saturated. They had sold about all the units they were going to sell at 50% of launch prices. They were even giving the games away with PlayStation Plus. By releasing those games to DDPs like Steam, Epic, and more, they get more money off each IP, including platforms, Sony, that gets a kickback on their investment in the publisher's game. And it gets new consumers excited for its sequels. But like you said, the timed exclusive may not give the bump in hardware or Game Pass sales like they would hope. If the game quickly comes to PS5, if it was Microsoft, I would take the hurt and try to keep that exclusive game as an exclusive for as long as they can. Which is good for gamers, because not every hit game, there is a competing clone of the game on the opposite platform. Strong competition is great for gamers. I really hope this game does well, whatever platform it lands. So how do you feel about this strategy of Microsoft basically releasing on Starfield, they even said in the report, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PS5 within its first year?
Usually, once we have time exclusive of over a year and a half from after the original release of the original console. They like to have Tomb Raider games, for example, because if I recall correctly, Tomb Raider: The Rise of the Tomb Raider in 2016, 2015, give or take, it took about a year or two later for it to be put on the PS4, if I recall correctly last time. So, and then they did the same with the rise of the Tomb Raider, not Rise, the Shadow Tomb Raider later on in 2018. So, but now I make it instead of a year and a half, a year, now it's less than a year. So some of that has to give what's going on within the game industry, where it's like this competition is not as um, separated as it used to be. Because usually back in the days of the Nintendo Super Nintendo, Genesis, those type of games, those were very exclusive to certain platforms, certain games, especially on the Sega Genesis, where they were dominated in the exclusives. Last time I checked, there were certain games I couldn't play on the Super Nintendo at all. That I was want to play on the Genesis.
Well, especially first party games, each console had its own. You weren't going to see a Mario game on Sega.
Of course
You
not.
weren't going to see a Sonic game on Super Nintendo. Um, so I mean, but as far, I think when it comes to like third party, I really don't know who had more exclusives. I think maybe Super Nintendo. That's why it was so. Um,
It was the
I
go-to
could be
console,
wrong
Super
on that.
Nintendo, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, this is maybe we're thinking of things back the way of Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and I might end up repeating this later tonight. But it's like, what's the point of getting an Xbox?
Yep.
I might as well just get a PS5 because if it's going to be a big hit on Xbox, it's going to come to PS5 eventually.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not really that happy with PS5 either. I mean, so it's kind of like, so I'm but I just don't understand Microsoft's business model. Okay, so they release games like Sea of Thieves, I get it, and Hi-Fi Rush. Like that one person said in the comments, they're not going to be able to, they couldn't sell those games, they couldn't give any more copies away. The only way to get more sales was to the only way to get more sales was to get more customers.
Oh yeah.
And they had to go to a different platform to do that. But I mean now you're giving away games that are, like I said, Indiana Jones less than a year. Starfield, while it was a complete flop, it was it's still new.
Average at
So
best. Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of like it's almost like you know there's no reason because the big games are getting pushed out to more platforms quickly.
Mm-hmm. I
Hold
would like
on,
to say this.
hold on. I heard something outside. I gotta check.
Okay.
What happened? I heard stuff fall. I thought I heard stuff fall, like pots and pans or something.
Not going nowhere.
Oh, okay. Alright. I wasn't sure if like some pots fell out of like a shelf or something.
Not gonna be looking for the car. All right.
Okay. Alright, well, as long as nothing's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'm back.
I don't want to say to Triple J is that you're right about sometimes on the matter, but it's just that back when we were kids and all. I know I'm reminiscing right now, but it's that back in the day, exclusivity was the big thing, the big model behind most consoles. Because if you want people to come to your console, you had to have the best exclusives, the best games, best system, best service, everything in between. But now it's like in today's world for the last at least 5 years now, all the cross-play, cross-platforming, cross exclusives, what we won't call it like that. It's like, what's the point after a while of buying certain consoles like to have Xbox? PlayStation is just a go-to console because it's a gaming friendly console altogether for decades, over the decades, obviously. While Xbox is more like entertainment based. Like if you want to watch your
Yeah.
Netflix, you want to watch your Disney Plus, and it's
YouTube.
easier YouTube and YouTube TV, and also you watch TV through your console if you have the older model Xbox Ones. So it's kind of like, it's pretty cool back then to have. And they had Snapping app on the Xbox One back in the first 2 or 3, 4 years of its release. They got rid of it after just 2016, 2017, which sucks because people complain about the frame rate and all while doing the Snapping app. There was just no excuse. Like, you can still watch wrestling, like WWE wrestling, while playing your favorite exclusives to the Xbox One if it's like Halo or, something of that sort. And
Yeah.
now it's not the case anymore. Now it's about who can have the most money to put on the most platforms in a short period of time rather than long periods of time. Because if you want people to go to your consoles, you have to make sure you have the best exclusive services or the best exclusivity of anything of sorts. But now
Yeah,
people are not thinking like that anymore. You know?
yeah. Great hardware is nothing if you don't have good software.
Oh yeah.
That's basically the way that I look at it. And Xbox is not going to have anything that's make says you gotta get an Xbox.
Hmm.
Um, with them just putting new games on PS5. It's kind of like, why does Sony even have to make the games? Just let make us Microsoft make them
Mm-hmm.
at this
So,
point.
in my opinion, I think Sony wants to be still part of that market. I mean, it's so involved with the market since the 1990s and all. And it's like, that's their only go to for the matter for the last 10 years now, because for the last 10 years, Sony's been going down in the sales of its overall products, or its quality of products. Because obviously, with the merging of the smartphones and smartphone technology and everything else. So that's one of the reasons why they're relying on the game systems, at least that, since then.
Yeah, but I mean, they put all their eggs in the Game Pass basket, but it's kind of like they killed their own console in order to for Game Pass. It's like if you push Game Pass to this point and you push uh, being able to play on any console, in doing so, the second one more than the first, you're killing your own console and you're killing a revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
So no
um,
avail.
yeah, again, we don't know. Apparently, they executives think they know better.
Yeah, that's what I hate about today's console market. I'm referring to somewhat partially thanks to a YouTube writer. Oh no, it's Alex with the two X's at the end. And I've been watching him for a month almost now. He was talking about how these fanboys for Xbox, fanboys of PlayStation, they're still stuck in that 1990s, 2000s type of mindset, because obviously they're in their 30s and 40s, if not 50s. Some of these console fanboys, and it's like they're not seeing the present day bigger picture. And I wish I go back 1990s where it's like you buy the exclusive console for the exclusive offer for the exclusive, what game or whatever it is at the time. But those days are over at this rate. I'm gonna miss those days. But we gotta move on after a while, and then sooner or later, within I would say at least 5 years from now, we're gonna see another merger of services in the gaming market to the point that Xbox will start making consoles altogether like here, and then they're gonna put their services towards other consoles like Nintendo and Sony. So it's
And they're probably going to try to do something with their Game Pass like Google Stadia was.
Yeah, and they'll have a better market for the Google State because they're $3 trillion company. While Google, of course, they're $1 trillion company to some extent too, but it's like they don't have the resource like Microsoft has. So
Yeah.
and time too from their mistakes.
But like I said, it's another thing I hate about gaming today because it's kind of like back in the days, it's like yeah, back in the 90s and 2000s, you wanted to play Halo, you had to get an Xbox. If you wanted to play Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, that you had to get a PS2 because it didn't come to Xbox till 2004 when San Andreas came out.
Yep.
So for the first 2 years, it was just on PS2. If you wanted to play a Mario game, you had to get the N64 or GameCube. You know, it's we had, and it's just like, the competition was healthy. So at
Yeah.
one point, it may be good for gamers, but at the same time, it's kind of, I think game companies have gotten lazy, and with the way all this is going in over, tying consoles together from different providers, and it's kind of like no wonder this has gotten lazy.
Not much competition
I
going
wouldn't
on.
want I wouldn't want to put my effort into creating games for this if I knew it was going to be shipped out to a different console in the first year.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's all about the short term gain by sacrifice the long term longevity
Yeah,
of the product or products.
maybe you know what? Maybe Microsoft is going to experience something like a personal video game crash soon.
Yeah, mention the fact that it's like over how many games on Xbox so far? About 5,000, 10,000 games,
Yeah,
almost. So
and like I said, yeah. So I mean, and like I said, PlayStation's not much better because they said like they're not going to have any first party exclusives till at least the first half of 2025.
oh yeah,
What were you doing every day at those studios? Smoking?
Yeah, that's
Crap?
good. Weed and cocaine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, you got anything else to say about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming to PS5 in its first year, or
With Indiana Jones, I would say specifically, I like Indiana Jones as I was a kid. Obviously, it was a big thing, but in the 80s and 90s, Indiana Jones was the Harrison Ford's acting on Indiana Jones, and all. He was a good actor in those movies. And sooner or later, by the 1990s, early 2000s, if I remember correctly, did a young version of Indiana Jones, like a series of tapes and episodes. I think it was a TV show or more of a series of mini movies, but it definitely was a TV show, like, the young Indiana Jones. I wanted to see that. I get a copy of that one day if I can find it. So that was a big thing back then. Now it's like, the Great Circle in the PS5, Xbox, series exclusive. It's kind of like, they use AI here in that kind of scenes. You see it in the Gamescom or the previous summer festivals with the Jeffrey Keough event, whatever we want to call it. And I saw those that the scene. The only thing was so funny in Indiana Jones was the Russian guy saying "choo choo choo choo." That was acting. That gotta be some good acting right there. I was like, you don't get to have AI. So you still have AI for that shit. It just sucks, You can't use lively actors anymore. You have to use AI and the occasional cheaply made actress or actor saying choo choo. That's about it.
yeah.
So
So
that's all I got to say for the matter.
all right, yeah, I don't got anything else to say. Otherwise, I'm just going to be repeating myself. So
Understood.
time, I think it's time to move on. All right, next. Borderlands 4 announced with teaser trailer at opening night live, Gamescom 2024. Kicking off Gamescom 2024 with a bang, Gearbox has announced Borderlands 4 during opening night live. A teaser trailer below confirmed a 2025 release window across PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Publisher 2K said Borderlands 4 launches in 2025 during parent company Take-Two's fiscal year 2026. That means it will launch at some point between April 2025 and the end of 2025. Here's the official blurb from 2K. Borderlands 4 announced it was Gamescom's opening night live with the teaser trailer providing players with their first tantalizing glimpse of an all-new planet. Borderlands 4 is the fourth mainline title and seventh overall entry in the franchise. Players will once again assume the role of a legendary vault hunter as they search for secret alien treasure while blasting everything in sight. The team and I at Gearbox have a lot we've wanted to do with Borderlands since we first introduced the looter shooter genre to the world with our original game, said Randy Pitchford, founder and president of the Gearbox Entertainment Company. All of us at Gearbox have massive ambitions for Borderlands 4 and are putting everything we have into making everything we love about Borderlands better than ever before, while taking the game to new levels and exciting new directions. The Borderlands franchise has sold in more than 87 million copies to date, receiving critical acclaim from reviewers and fans alike. With unforgettable characters, deep world building, and more unique guns that can be counted, the franchise has cemented itself as a must-play series. We're thrilled to be able to share with our fans that 2025 will mark a massive year for 2K and Gearbox Entertainment, said 2K Core Games Senior Vice President and General Manager Katharina Lavers Mallet. The Borderlands series is one of 2K's most successful franchises ever and is beloved by millions globally. We're excited that our already close partnership and collaboration with the Gearbox team has grown even deeper, and we look forward to delivering best-in-class experiences to both longtime fans and new players alike. The reveal of Borderlands 4 is a long time coming, with Pitchford teasing it over a number of occasions in recent years. He told IGN in February that Gearbox was working on the greatest thing it has ever done. Take-Two later acquired Gearbox from Embracer Group for $460 million and confirmed a new Borderlands game was in development. The announcement of Borderlands 4 comes hot on the heels the high-profile flop that was the Borderlands movie, and which IGN awarded 3 out of 10 in our review. So let's see comments. I can't pronounce that name. Goes I feel like this IP doesn't have the juice Gearbox thinks it does. It was kind of funny in the 2010s, but I feel like since two, the shtick hasn't been get has been get to be too. Ah, the shtick has been getting too old. Um, Ralph Wingham 7777 goes, Borderlands 3 sold over 15 million copies, and the franchise as a whole has sold over 75 million. It's not God of War or Super Mario, but it's definitely in the A minus or B plus categories of major gaming franchises, and Gearbox's big money um, charmer by far. There's a couple of replies. Mino132 underscore 668 521 goes, that was also 5 years ago when the landscape was very different from how things are now. I don't know about you, but I've long outgrown these games. I imagine many probably have in that 5 year span. And uh, Copes goes, issue with that logic is that you've gotten older, but there's still many new, younger audience members. I gestured toward Pokemon. The original fans have been asking for hard modes, randomizers, polished visuals, etc. for years. They keep only doing what they do and breaking record sales because young people keep the sales afloat. Okay, well, I can't speak for everyone else, but are you excited about Borderlands 4?
Unfortunately, not really. I will admit that because I haven't got just to beat Borderlands 1.
Or 2, or 3,
Yeah,
but
too.
go on.
Yeah, I've been busy with Apex for a good couple of years at least. I will admit that. And if I put more, half my time from Apex towards Borderlands, I'll probably get some things done. I'm kind of stuck in a part in Borderlands 1 where I had to fight off these bandits, and I'm like, my level of guns are very weak, where I see on a 1 hit point at a time per bullet. So I'm kind of stuck right now to what to do. So forget about that for the time being. And it's all right to play the gameplay. The gameplay is all right. It's just the story is not all. In my perspective, the story is not all there. So you just
Yep.
do some random things, random people, random events. It's like, I can't really see a story of that matter. Maybe to put like cutscenes in it, maybe if ever, but that's about it. So
Yeah, I have to admit I haven't played Borderlands 3 in over a year, and I have Borderlands 3. Um, so that's the only Borderlands game I have. Borderlands 2 was boring to me. Um, I don't know what it was. I just remember Claptrap being a whole lot more annoying to the point where I wanted to strangle him, and I was one of his defenders from the first Borderlands. But and then like the whole ice like the whole snowy um or snow or the whole landscape of Borderlands 2, at least in the beginning, it was just not really fun to play. And I think honestly, I find Borderlands boring if you don't have someone to go through with it, to go through with you as you play.
right.
I get it, it's kind of like a game. But the thing is, like, you think of games like Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends was fun to play if you had no one to play with. Borderlands, not so much anymore.
Hmm.
And Borderlands 3 was one of the games I was anticipating when I first got my Xbox One. Now it's like, yeah, I haven't touched it in over a year. I don't think that's by coincidence.
Hmm.
Um, so really, Borderlands 4, I just it's
Yeah,
kind of like it's kind of like I've been out of Borderlands. I just haven't said so.
yeah. If they added Borderlands 4 for as a teaser trailer and all, and try to put that into full implementation for next year's release, you're probably gonna get like at best the older games to buy the Borderlands games, not the younger players. That's about it, really, because the first Borderlands came out as early as what 2007, 2008,
Yeah, something like
2009,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we were like 20 years old when I first played Borderlands 1. So
yeah. It's just yeah. So I don't know what it is. Why I've fallen out of Borderlands. Maybe 2 and 3. I think it's 2 and 3, especially 2. Just not being as a just they had magic with the first one, but ever since then, the sequels have not been reclaiming that same magic the first one had.
oh yeah.
Um, that's the best reason. That's the best I can think of. But like I said, my reaction to Borderlands 4 coming out. Yay!
Okay.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
All right, let's move on.
Okay. All right. Next, Xbox Game Pass subscribers will have to wait 12 months or more for some of Ultimate's biggest releases. Microsoft reveals how long standard subscribers will have to wait to play games like Black Ops 6. Microsoft says those who subscribe to its Game Pass standard tier won't see day one game releases for up to a full year, if not longer after they launch. Xbox clarified what day one releases will look like going forward in a recent Xbox Wire post. While Game Pass Ultimate players will continue to see brand new experiences launch on the service at no additional cost, those who subscribe to the standard tier will wait up to 12 months or more to see those same titles arrive. Microsoft first revealed Standard in July as an option without day one releases, leaving many fans to wonder how long they would have to wait. Now we know. Some games coming to Game Pass Ultimate, day one games or other game entries, will not be immediately available with Game Pass Standard and may be added to the library at a future date, can be up to 12 months or more, and will vary by title. Microsoft explained today. We'll continue to share with all Game Pass members when games are being added and available to play for each plan. Game Pass Standard is set to go live in the coming months and follows a series of price increases also announced in July. When Standard does arrive, it will leave Xbox players with four options to choose from: Core for $9.99 a month, Standard for $14.99 a month, PC for $11.99 a month, and Ultimate for $19.99 a month. So while console owners looking to save $5 per month may find that Standard tier enticing, they should know that they'll have to wait quite a bit longer to play highly anticipated titles like Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We'll learn more about how Standard operates when it arrives. Microsoft has tweaked its Game Pass offerings more than a few times, so if you're still confused about how it all works, you can read our breakdown here. Then be sure to see why the FTC wasn't happy with the recently announced price increase and why some analysts think they were inevitable. Okay, so getting comments. Real Frowns goes, that's why you just get Game Pass Ultimate or Game Pass for PC and enjoy the Day 1 editions. This year in total, there's something like nearly 50 Day 1 editions in total. Definitely makes it worth the extra cost. Star Ocean Blue goes, not per year, maybe 1 month or 2 months a year, but it isn't worth $240 a year. And there's a couple of replies to that. Zero goes, is it worth $240 for you a year? For you, worth value subjective. The beauty here is that there is a choice. Nobody is forcing you to sub to Game Pass. Do not buy your games if you want. Nobody is stopping you. Don't take the choice away from others. Neo05 goes, I have 3 years prepaid till August 2027, but at a significant discount. It's not worth $240 a year. That's almost double what I paid for 3 years. And Zero goes, not worth $240 a year for you. And Knock Alive, Narrative 4 goes, for most. Okay, can I go first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, someone has to buy me a ruler and then give me a trip to Microsoft headquarters, so I could smack the hands of the executives making these decisions, like I'm a priest in Catholic school and their students misbehaving. Seriously, $240 a year. That's the price. 2 years, and you could buy a whole new console.
Easily, especially the S series.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe if there's a big release coming out that you were anticipating, it's worth it for a month here, a month there. But yeah, it's not worth it for $20 a month. I'm sorry. I'd rather spend $20 a month on retro games, but then again, that's me.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then the Standard, you have to wait a year or more. I don't think you get cloud gaming with Standard. So, like, if you want to play like an Xbox Series title, which that does have cloud gaming, You can't do it on standard. You have to get ultimate or maybe PC also. Um, so it's kind of yeah. I think Microsoft just went back on what they said they would did what they said they would not do.
Yeah, increase the prices.
Yeah. Because standard honestly is just not worth it. But you know, it's just this is I mean this is ridiculous. I mean at the point maybe it is better just to buy the game. That way you could play it, and if even if you can only start, I'll take Yakuza like a Dragon Gaiden or Yakuza like a Dragon. Um, that game it takes a lot of hours. I put a lot of hours into it, and I only got halfway through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's better just to buy that game and play it. That way you can play at your own pace. You're not playing against the clock. Like, oh, I gotta get through this game so I can get to the next one on my list I want to try. Or just use it as a rental service. Okay, there's a bunch of games I want to try. I'm gonna play them all once, and then I'll buy the games that I want. So I just have to pay one time instead of $20 a month repeatedly. Because I mean, this is what gaming is going to be in the future. With that, I don't like. It's going to be a service, and while it's convenient on one hand, it's not going to be that wallet friendly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, you're right.
Do you have anything else to add or?
I wanted to say this though: the delays of the 12-month wait, I guess is ridiculous right there because you're telling people to spend $20 for a whole 12 months with nothing major coming out. Oh, sure, there'll be like new releases coming out the Game Pass every so often, every couple of months or whatever, especially the independently owned games or independent games like that, White Noise or Creepy Pasta, whatever the fuck that game was called. I talked about the other month or two that came out last month or two. And that's about it, really. But that's it. Those are independent games for like $14 here, $10 there, $20 there, and you're gonna play for only for a couple of hours at a time. I will admit that. I played the game called The Good Times or something like that. It's like where you walk around the city and at nighttime everyone turns to dogs and cats and shit. I actually played a good gameplay of that last year or two. It was pretty good. But it's no longer on a Game Pass for over a year and a half now, and I always want to get on was on sale, but the average price for that game was about 50, $60. It's an independent, not 50 bucks, like I was got about $40 I guess around that time. Still, that's a regular price for that game. I'm like, damn, it's not an S tier, A tier type of game like that of a Call of Duty or Battlefield, or whatever. It's just your independently made game. I will support the developer. I spent $40 for that, but then again, it's like I rather wait it's on sale because with the Game Pass or the Game Ultimate Pass, whatever it's called, you get discounts on them. So yeah, it's worth it. Depends on how much you play the Xbox, and the more you play the Xbox, the better your offer is. I'll spend that $20, $14, whatever it was, but not for no 12 months of nothingness or near nothing.
Yeah, yeah. You're getting really nothing if you pick the standard tier.
Hey, you better just get a $9.99 one for the play online. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So at least you can play your games online, and you can play if you have any games from Games with Gold, you can play those, and you can play the Corsa section, which has like between 35 and 40 games.
Yeah. And you get 25 free games to choose from to play every so often too. Depends on how much they rotate that library out.
Well, I don't. Well, they only rotate that library out like about 3 times a year, but they said I think it was 35.
Okay.
And whatever it is, you do get like a few dozen, 2 or 3 dozen free games. Well, not free, but 2 or 3 dozen games. And like I said, Overcooked 2, Ninja Turtle, Shredder's Revenge. I forgot other games that were in that there. I'm not even sure if they're still there. But, I was like, okay, State of Decay 2, I think, was in there in these game section that was included in Game Pass Core. And it's kind of like, okay, I do see value in this. $9.99 a month. Plus, you get to play whatever games you had, games with gold that are locked if they're an Xbox One game.
If I recall, Triple J, while referring to the 25 game selection, that's if you paid $10.99 or $9.99 at the time. That was like about
Yeah.
earlier this year. The one you're referring to must be something like that of $14.99. You
No,
know?
no, no, no. We just it might be 25 games. I forget. The nine. I was referring to the 9.99, but I just thought it was 35 games, not 25.
Okay, because you don't get those top tier games with the 9.99 a
They
month.
they were they were there at first.
Yeah, that's like 5 years ago, maybe.
No, no, no. When Game Pass, when not 5 years ago, that's a little facetious, but um, when Game Pass Gold, when games with gold disappeared and finally died a slow, agonizing death
Yes.
and turned to Game Pass Core, these were the game. I looked at the game list that was going to be mentioned, and I do remember writing about these games as these are the games that are about that. These are the games I care about that are being released with Game Pass Core. So if they're not there anymore, they were at least reported to be included in the Game Pass Core section when Game Pass Core was unveiled.
I just said.
That's yeah. So I mean, I could look up my blog and see if because I wrote about the games that I cared about that was in that list. But like I said, it may be 25. I might be remembering it as 35 for some other reason.
Yeah, 35 is just too much. That means you had to have had the other regular tier games as well, if you can think of any.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, if you got like Game Pass Ultimate, there's like 350 games to choose from.
Something like
Uh,
that, yeah.
so it's like 10% of that library. Oh, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it was 25. But then again, I do remember more games being added, but I never heard about other games being taken away. So I'm figuring, you know, if it started with 25, I know of at least one time they added more games. So it'd be like about 30 if they didn't take any away.
I see what you mean. Okay.
So yeah, so it may have been 25. But yeah, like, and I remember like Overcooked 2, which is I think made by an independent developer. Um, Turtles: Shredder's Revenge was there. Um, so yeah, maybe Game Pass Core is the way to go. If you play online or just want to play your games with gold, so you don't have to buy them again. Um, but yeah, Game Pass Ultimate, $20 a month. No, I ain't doing that.
Okay.
Anything else, Ed, or ready to move on?
For me, is this. I will admit that I've been paying on and off for the last 6 months of called Game Pass Ultimate, but when they increased the price to $20.99, I got the an alternative website, or a call alternative website for the matter. But even that, depends on what credit card company you use for that site too. So people are the credit card companies are clamping down on these go to sites to get discounts at. So good luck trying to find a decent credit card company that wants to accept your transaction with that particular alternative. So
Right.
so they're trying to make people go towards the mainline selection of games like that of Xbox and Sony PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and all, instead of just going to alternatives. So
Yep.
no more Green Bay Gaming, no more Steam, if ever, at this rate. Depends on how you look at it.
Yep.
So eventually, they're going to have to. People on Steam, of course, will revolt somehow. Someone they'll try to convince the Valve to stop doing that denial of access to alternative keys and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
so that's all I gotta say.
All right. All right. So time to move on. We only got like four more stories for tonight.
Sure thing.
PlayStation Plus is losing a ton of great games next month. Horizon Forbidden West and some other great games are leaving PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Sony has quietly updated its list of PlayStation Plus games leaving the service in September. According to the current list, 12 games will be gone next month, including the first party open world action game Horizon Forbidden West. It's always nice when popular video game subscription services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus library add new games for folks to play. But many of these games will eventually leave for various reasons. Contracts expire, deals end, etc. And in September, Sony will move a dozen games from PlayStation Plus. As spotted by Wario64 and PlayStation Lifestyle, 12 games have been added to the Last Chance to Play section of PlayStation Plus, indicating they will be removed from the subscription service next month. This is the list of games leaving. Horizon Forbidden West, Star Ocean First Departure R, Star Ocean The Divine Force, Star Ocean The Last Hope, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Noah Replicant, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Alien Isolation, Cloud Pug, and Spirit Foster. I just have to say,
Star Ocean is Star Ocean, Dad.
yeah, I mean, that took up nearly half the list. As PlayStation Lifestyle points out, this is just what's been announced so far, and more games could be added to this list and removed in September. Sony's always handled this part of running a subscription service poorly, so be prepared that more could be leaving than just the list below or above. And yes, a third-party PlayStation game, Horizon Forbidden West, is set to exit PlayStation Plus soon. I'm not sure why Sony is removing the game from the service, but if you haven't beaten the massive open-world Robo Dino adventure game, you might want to download it now and finish it up. Meanwhile, Alien Isolation is heading out right as the latest Alien film hits theaters. I wonder if that's a coincidence. And Marvel's Midnight Suns is getting yoinked too. That's also happening shortly before a big Marvel show featuring watches and magic arrives in October. Almost as if the owners of these brands and games want to pull these titles out of a subscription plan right before some new piece of media arrives and drives up interest in sales. Okay. And please remember, Star Ocean is being removed. Anyway, do you care about any of these games being removed?
Star Ocean sounds like a big thing for them to remove all that Star Ocean games. I mean, I want to try that out, see how bad it is or good it is. Depends on how you look at it. So, now for Horizon games, I never played yet. Obviously, they're all their PlayStation exclusives. Right. So one day I will let myself get a copy of them. Even though if I do, I'm probably not gonna play much of it. I will admit that because it's not that appealing to the eye, in my perspective. Because the main character is supposed to be this woman that's supposed to be very young and all and agile and stuff like that, but then they make her look like a overweight, woman with the facial features and stuff like that. So I don't know what they're trying to do for the last 15 years of gaming, or at least 7, 8 years of gaming. But it's not appealing towards the older gamers that want to see sex appeal in their characters, especially the female characters.
Well, I wouldn't say it's been that long because I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raider when they were, I thought when they revealed like the rebooted Tomb Raider, I thought she looked attractive. She looked like like a real person, but she still looked attractive. So
don't get me wrong, that's like an exception right there.
Yeah, so I don't think. But again, that also was like 10 years ago. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's been that long.
Yeah.
Since they've been trying to drive down sex appeal in characters in video games.
But they're starting to double down for a couple of years at least. Because,
absolutely.
Because obviously, I'm not sure everything has to be picture perfect like that in the 1990s and 80s. All those actors and actresses and you name the magazine models, stuff like that. Like, I like as I said, it's impossible to go for in most people in today's world and all. But 24 years ago, we had that a standard, and that was the best thing to see out in the public eye, And unfortunately, that's what's going on in today's world. There's no motivation for male gamers to do stuff anymore. It's about ugly characters here, unappealed this, unappealed that. Like no more Snow White story, stuff like that. The original concept of Snow White. That's what I hear about these movies. They're trying to do less of the charming prince and the kissing. Like, oh, that's rape or that's sexual harassment if you kiss a girl while she's sleeping with her. That's what they did in Snow White, the original Snow White in the 1930s and all. I'm like,
I heard about it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Like, who are you gonna? You might as well just fucking call it quits on humanity at that rate, I mean, you tell us guys, or at least the younger guys, don't appeal that way, don't approach girls that way, or show that kind of sex appeal, demand that sex appeal from the ladies and all. I mean, like it's. I don't know what to say about the men who wants to do stuff in life, They're not giving us any options, just to be just play older games. That's about it. That's all I could do.
If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do.
You gotta keep us excited and have incentives to do stuff. It's like you can't just be telling guys don't think of girls in this game for that character that Well, then why did Angelina Jolie start the movie in the Tomb Raider movies in the night 2000? All that was the best thing.
That's because people hadn't had their brains rot away in 2000 yet.
Yeah, I know, right? Or not thinking like men. It's just like it's like, oh, you're thinking like a man, so that means you can't think like that.
Okay,
I'm
well, too
sorry.
bad.
Yeah, too bad.
No, because I just think like Resident Evil when it was remade for Xbox One, the original Resident Evil, like if you had Jill 1, you see her breast bouncing up and down. Um, it's like it's like people already found Jill Valentine attractive, but this just makes it even more so. So it's
and there's even mods out there for the Resident Evil 3 remake as well too for Jill Valentine.
really there's mods for that.
Yeah, I can't go into details, but it's been interesting to see some things. And it was on YouTube of all places. I was showing that shit. I was like, damn.
Dr. Games 101, please keep your hands on the desk where people can see them.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and there have been attractive women in games. Even Deadfall Adventures, the woman that you work with was, somewhat attractive. And that was, but then again, that was probably an indie game because I don't remember the only promotion I know about it is I think was Games with Gold.
Yes.
So it's it's there. If they're gonna do this, like I said, it's eventually gonna run its course. I mean, when Disney has Mickey Mouse go into the public domain because they can't afford to keep the rights because Disney's been hemorrhaging money, you know that Disney is basically not making the right decisions.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse probably been around for almost 100 years, not longer now. So
yeah, and now they can't afford to keep the copyright, so they had to let it go into public domain because they lost so much money on being social justice and being DI
and racist too.
pushing DEI.
And they were formerly racist as well too back in the 50s and earlier. So
yeah, so but yeah, so I mean, I didn't expect to talk about attractive women in video games, but
that's because of the Horizon lady. That's why.
okay, but yeah, I could probably go through my games and find other women that were attractive too, and I'm not talking about the guy game, which had real live women at spring break take off their clothes if you did well. Watch with that knowledge, Dr. Games 101 will be at my house tomorrow.
Yes. I'd be like,
can I borrow that PS2 game?
I'm like, hello, James. Hello.
Anything else to add or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Next, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster interview. Dev team reveals who's voicing Frank West, the future of the series, and more. We talked to the dev team to see what fans can expect from DRDR ahead of its release next month. Less than a month from now, Dead Rising returns. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster provides a quality-of-life update to a beloved zombie game that seeks to revive this dormant series and appeal to a wider audience. I was fortunate enough to ask the development team behind the remaster a few questions I was curious about following my hands-on preview. In this interview, we discussed an array of changes in Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. This includes what other changes fans can expect in the full release, what changes were made to Infinity Mode, where the future holds for the series, and who exactly is voicing Frank West. I actually never played Overtime or Infinity Mode. Check out the full interview below, and if you want to know my impressions from an early build, check out my hands-on preview. So IGN goes, what inspirations did Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster carry over most from the previous Dead Rising games like Dead Rising 2, and what might be the most surprising changes to veterans of the series beyond what was already previously announced? And devs go, playing through Dead Rising 2, 3, and 4, and listening to fans' feedback helped us reaffirm what elements needed to be included in Dead Rising 1. In particular, we put a lot of thought and care into Frank's characterization. One major change from the original game is the addition of several new skill books, which players can pair with in-game items for a new gameplay experience. We've also made adjustments so that all items, play, and counter have their own special use. We encourage you to try things out for yourself without getting too hung up on your impressions from the original game. Speaking and then speaking of change and then IGNX. Speaking of changes, I noticed several, if not all, of the previously voiced characters like Brad and Jesse received new voice actors, most notably Frank West. Was there any specific reason for some characters not having their original voice actors reprise their roles? The dev team goes, based on fan wishes and our own developmental wishes, we wanted to use the English voiceover from the original game without making any changes. Unfortunately, we weren't able to move forward with this plan because the contract for the 18-year-old game was outdated. Another one of our goals for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster was to make the game fully voiced, so we made some changes to the cast of voice actors. We've all been very pleased with the new actors' performances. IGN goes, speaking of Frank West, many in the Dead Rising community, including myself, have been trying to figure out who is voicing Frank West. Who is the talent voicing Frank West in Deluxe Remaster? The dev team goes, Jazz Patrick is the new voice of Frank West for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. We're very pleased with the work he's done for the project. IGN goes, I know Frank West, original voice actor TJ Rotolo, revealed he was not contacted by Capcom about reprising his role. Is there any reason why you decided not to contact Rotolo to return and voice Frank West? The dev team goes, we regret that we were unable to have TJ Rotolo reprise his role in Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster and accommodate the request of our dedicated fans. We have selected a new voice actor for Frank West, but we sincerely appreciate all that TJ Rotolo has done for the Dead Rising series and wish him the best in his future endeavors. IGN goes, we received a ton of information on 72-hour mode, but little to nothing on the other modes. Regarding Infinity mode specifically, can you describe some of the biggest changes introduced that make it a little less challenging to play while still maintaining the challenge of obtaining achievements like 5 or 7 Day Survivor? The dev team goes, regarding Infinity mode, players are now able to save mid-game and exit without losing their progress. Along with the ability to fast-forward time, we made some adjustments that we think will allow players to enjoy the mode more casually than in the original game. Since zombies now drop items at a low rate, a more aggressive playstyle has become a viable option for this mode as well. And IGN goes, before Deluxe Remaster, the series remained dormant since Dead Rising 4's release in 2016. Should fans take Deluxe Remaster as a sign of things to come? Is there a chance Capcom will go back and remaster other Dead Rising games, or perhaps consider developing a new entry altogether? And the developers go, Capcom would like to continue to bring back many of its IPs. In hopes of expanding upon the Dead Rising series in the future, we'd first like to put effort into promoting Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster and share its appeal with fans around the world. So, some comments. The Real Bernoobie goes, so in other words, buy it and they'll make more. This is a day one for me. I'll be streaming it on TikTok and Twitch for sure. People love watching this series, and the remake is highly anticipated. I'd love to see them expand the series more. Go straight up third-person action RPG, open world, with drop-in, drop-out multiplayer. There's so much they could do with this franchise. Master Chief 3624 goes, wow, that was such a frustrating but not unexpected non-answer for why they didn't bring back the original voice actor. And Taffer19 goes, Dino Crisis remake confirmed? So what do you think of this new Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster?
I could have sworn they did one for Xbox One, right?
They did, yes. That's something we did get with Games with Gold.
Okay,
but
so
this is one for like Xbox Series.
Oh, okay, doing it for the second time. This time for the series. Okay.
But this time it's not just getting the game files to work. They're building this from the ground up, basically.
Interesting. Okay, let's see what happens in the next couple of years from now when they officially release it.
Yeah. Have you played any of the Dead Rising games?
I played Dead Rising 1 for a few minutes. It was all right. It's not my cup of tea. I will admit that. I'm more into shooting, like the shooting and looting, or tactical shooting, like Apex Legends or Halo. A little bit of Call of Duty here and there. But this Dead Rising was also an open world pretty much in a supermarket or a supercenter of a mall.
Yeah.
That's it's limited, yes, obviously, but it's also open-minded to what you want to do in that game, because you use a TV to hit your enemies with, your zombies with, and all, or a shopping cart, chainsaw if you can find one. Pretty cool stuff, I hear. Because you can choose over like 200 items just in that one first game alone. So I can't imagine how it's with the other Dead Rising 2 games. I did play, though, at Dead Rising 2, I did play the Case Zero. That was for either for free or with discount, whatever.
Right.
I was like 25, not 24 at the time playing the game. It was all right to play. That game was all right, slightly better than Dead Rising 1. But other than that, I'm sure Dead Rising 3 and 4, what I hear is not that good, especially Dead Rising 4. So,
Okay. Well, Dead Rising 1, the original, I played, and I played the Xbox One release that we did get with Games with Gold. And I'll still play it again, to be honest.
okay.
I just don't because I have to have some kind of Xbox service to do so. Um, so but I played that, and I'll still play it again. And it was funny because I mean, just the weapons, you could name them all. You got guns, you got blunt weapons like pipes and weights, and then you could use like an umbrella, and you could use a torso of a mannequin and beat zombies with it. And then if you want to really get creative, you can use CDs and soda cans and throw them like ninja stars, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does knock them back.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and then like use those umbrellas that they put like at tables and just run through, clearing zombies out of your way until the umbrella breaks. Um, so it was pretty good. Definitely worth it, even if you have even if you have to play the original. Dead Rising 2, I never played Case Zero. I played the original Dead Rising 2, and I played Dead Rising 2 Case West, where Chuck Green and Frank West team up.
Uh-huh.
I never beat Dead Rising 2, the original. I did play Dead Rising 2 off the record, um, where they replaced Chuck Green with Frank West, but Chuck Green he was a psychopath boss, but also if someone joined in to play co-op, they would take control of Chuck Green.
Hmm.
So it's weird. They had the same character be a psychopath boss, but also be a ally if someone wanted to join the game.
Pretty cool.
Uh, Dead Rising 3, that was honestly the bad one in my opinion, because I got really far in it and I just couldn't make myself finish it, even though I probably could have. I just like lost. It's like Mafia 3. Just I don't want any more. Dead
And,
Rising 4, I played and I actually beat. Um, the ending did surprise me. And I really thought that the series was over by then. After that, based on the ending, um, but you know, maybe I always wondered, could they maybe, the ending. You never really saw what happened to Frank. Maybe yeah, okay, maybe he got left behind, so he didn't drag the helicopter down. But who says he had to die once he fell off once he fell out of the plane? Maybe he found a way to survive. Maybe.
yeah.
They could have done something to in the lore to bring him back. You know, but or maybe he did survive in some other, and they could start him somewhere else in a different game, regardless who's voicing him, and
Indeed.
then they just explain in the new game how he escaped when you thought he was dead.
Oh, yeah.
So there is, yeah. So I mean, Dead Rising, if I think Dead Rising 4 gets more hate than it deserves, but it's like the closest we've had to Dead Rising being in a city instead of just confined to a mall. Or I mean, I know Dead Rising 3, but Dead Rising 3 that can be left behind. Um, so I think if you haven't played Dead Rising 4 because of the negative opinion it gets, you should try it out. Um, I'm not going to be playing this one, um, but I do think for people who haven't played it or have an Xbox Series and want to play it again, then definitely get this game.
Oh, for newcomers, at least that.
Yeah,
New Dead Rising gamers.
yeah, because the first Dead Rising was like '06, so
Yes.
that's 18 years ago.
Damn, time flies. And,
Ready to
speak,
move?
and speaking
Go
of
on.
Dead Rising and mixture of Resident Evil as well, there's this crossover death battle on the Death Battle YouTube channel where Frank West or the original character from Dead Rising One go up against Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. So that's going to cross promo to have for those who wants to play both Resident Evil as well as Dead Rising. So check
Yeah.
that out as well too if you have time.
Yep. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
You move on.
All right. Next. New Xboxes are out in October and up for pre-order as Microsoft continues porting games to PS5. There are much more options for Xboxes this holiday and fewer reasons to get one. There are 3 new Xbox consoles coming out this fall featuring alternate colors and bigger SSDs. Microsoft announced pre-orders are available now with the hardware launching on October 15th, just a day after confirming that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, its biggest game of 2024, will also be coming to PlayStation 5 early next year. The new console variants were previously announced at Microsoft's Summer Games Fest adjacent Xbox Showcase. They include all digital Xbox Series S with the 1TB hard drive, Robot White for $350, and all digital Xbox Series X 1TB SSD Robot White for $450, or special edition Xbox Series X 2TB SSD Galaxy Black for $600. The new hardware arrives alongside big first-party fall releases like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in what should be one of the biggest string of game launches for Microsoft in a long time. However, some of the upcoming games like Towerborn are PC exclusive at first, while others like Indiana Jones are already confirmed to be coming to PS5 a few months after release. The Verge reports that it could arrive on Sony's rival platform as early as April 2025. What I see when I look at our franchise getting stronger. Our Xbox consoles are playing high this year as they've ever been, and I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are strong as they've ever been. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer said on Wednesday during an Xbox live stream regarding the ongoing multi-platform push. And we run a business. It's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery we have to give back to the company because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing and what we're able to go do. He continued, I look at this how we can make our game strong as possible. Our platform continues to grow both on console, on PC, and on cloud, and I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is, I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been going for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow, and I think us as fans, as players of games, we have to anticipate there's going to be more change in some of the traditional ways that games are built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. Microsoft has been reinforcing this post-console strategy throughout the year, not just with games like Seas of Thieves coming to PS5, but also with investments in other hardware ecosystems, including PC gaming handhelds like the Asus ROG Ally, which just got a big upgrade that puts it neck and neck with the Steam Deck. The company has also brought Game Pass to Samsung TVs and Amazon Fire Sticks, making it easier than ever for players to bypass expensive gaming hardware entirely thanks to streaming over the cloud, because it works so well for Stadia. Where that will leave the future of the Xbox console itself remains to be seen. Microsoft has promised it will continue making hardware, with its next console being the biggest leap in terms of technical capabilities. In the meantime, though, it doesn't sound like we'll be getting a mid-generation refresh of the Xbox Series X, like the long-rumored PS5 Pro expected to be revealed in the next few months. Okay, I just have to go back to something Phil Spencer said.
Yes, Phil Spencer.
If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. Phil Spencer, you are definitely focused on the wrong things. But yeah, why? Who's going to spend $350, $450, or $600 on a console when you already announced that newer games are going to PS5. I just don't. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Doctor Games 101. Are you going to get any of these Xboxes, or do you want to get any of these Xboxes?
At
I
this
mean,
rate, I might not gonna get the Series X right away, or even the S even. Not right away. I'd rather get the PS5 first and then it's the Series X by default. Now, it had been for a long while now, because obviously Phil Spencer, the president of the Xbox division as well, those two guys, Phil Spencer and the lady, they're not. They're not. I mean, Phil Spencer's supposed to be the down to earth guy that knows about games, whatever. While the lady, the black lady, supposed to be like the business aspect of it all. Like that's a good pairing right there between those two. But now it's like I'm starting to see that they don't care or they're out of touch or both. It's the point where it's like, what's the point of getting a new Xbox console? Yes, you can get the Xbox One or the Xbox 360. Those are worthwhile, especially certain Xbox 360 games you cannot play on the Xbox One backwards compatible.
yeah,
So that's
not
fine.
any of them. Yeah.
So they'll definitely have some sort of hand in that aspect of their Xbox consoles, if ever. Especially if it's like GameStop, for example, they still selling if GameStop still selling Xbox 360 consoles, that's their backbone right there for their company for that particular retailer. So, other than that, the future of consoles altogether is Xbox Series X and S, and soon to be the new updated models or upgraded models. It's not worth it right now, not anytime soon. So,
And the thing is, the two cheaper ones are the that have 1 terabyte hard drive are all digital. I
yes.
don't know about the $600 one, if that has a disk drive or not. If
But
they're charging $600, they better have a disk drive in it. Um,
when I hear the 2 terabyte edition, that's going to come out this year. That's going to be
yeah,
at least $600 to pay.
yeah, that's the most expensive one. But I'm saying if it's going to be come out 600, if it's going to be $600 at launch, you better have a disk drive.
Nope. I hear it's not going to be that case.
Oh, so that one's going to be all digital too.
If I recall correctly, yes. The only one that's going to be still have this is the original release in 2020. That's about it. So,
What in the hell is okay? Phil Spencer's completely lost touch with reality. I think we have to just face facts with that.
yeah.
Um,
And I hope he's doing something good at the end of all this kerfuffle, in my opinion. But he is a businessman by the end of the day, so he's looking out for the Microsoft company, not the players themselves entirely, officially and directly. Firstly,
okay, well, Phil Spencer's a businessman. Phil Spencer, stay the hell away from my business because I don't need someone as out of touch as you screwing up another business when you finally screw up Xbox. Um,
he was doing so well the first 5 years of his tenure as a
yeah,
head of Xbox.
yeah. I mean, Xbox was great but I mean, like ever since he announced that Xbox lost the console war, and then he started throwing in all his support towards Game Pass, and then this controversy with Game Pass raising the price and everything, and creating this middle tier that's really worth jack, and it's kind of like it's like uh, is Phil Spencer going through a midlife crisis? Maybe that explains his bad decisions.
Well, yeah, it happens every now and then for certain businessmen. It's like you gotta keep crunching those numbers. You gotta keep up with the numbers.
Okay, but you gotta make good decisions, not bad ones. I mean, what? It's just I just look at more of the. This is why I hate seeing the decisions they make, like Phil Spencer and Xbox, because I just look at it and I say, who in the blue hell thought that was a great idea? Um, but I digress. Uh, yeah, so the new Xbox Ones, they're not gonna have, or the new Xbox Series, they're not gonna have disc drives. None, as Dr. Games 101 said, he heard none of them. Well, we know the two cheaper ones won't. Those will be all digital. Um, so I really have no interest in getting one. I don't even have an interest in getting a PS5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, The only way I would get like a PS5 maybe is if my Xbox One stopped working and I couldn't watch YouTube on my TV.
Oh yeah, you can still watch apps on the PS5 as well. I forgot about that too.
So I mean, but then again, I might just get a base Xbox One again. You know,
Yeah.
so it's so yeah. So I mean, this is ridiculous. Um,
Yeah, the Xbox Ones, the Xbox Ones themselves are very cheap right now to buy, used especially, and it's like no more than $200 depending on where you're getting it from.
yeah. So, but I have absolutely no interest in getting any of these newer Xbox consoles. I still stand by what I said. If you're getting an Xbox console, if it's anything over Xbox One, what's the point?
Oh yeah.
Like the only Xbox console I could ever see myself buying in the near future is a 360.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on for the final story tonight?
You move on to the final story.
All right.
So I mentioned to you beforehand.
Yep. Black Myth Wukong sells an incredible 10 million copies in just 3 days. Monkey business. Black Myth Wukong has sold an incredible 10 million copies in just 3 days, developer Game Science has announced. This action RPG, which is inspired by the classical Chinese novel Journey to the West, went on sale on August 20th across PC and PlayStation 5. Now, as of 9 p.m. Beijing time on August 23rd, Game Science has announced Black Myth Wukong has already shot through the 10 million sales barrier with an eye-watering 3 million concurrent players across all platforms. Thanks to all players worldwide for your support and love, Game Science tweeted. Have a great gaming weekend. So, to put Black Wukong sales success into context, Arrowhead's Helldivers 2 sold 12 million copies in its first 12 weeks to become the fastest-selling PlayStation Studios game of all time. Indeed, Black Myth Wukong is one of the fastest-selling video games of all time, overtaking the likes of Elden Ring and Hogwarts Legacy within the same time frame. It sold so well. It has matched Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which combined sold 10 million copies in 3 days to become Nintendo's fastest-selling game of all time. On Steam, Black Myth Wukong broke a number of concurrent player count records. It's the most played single-player game of all time on Valve's platform, ahead of CD Projekt's Cyberpunk 2077, and the second most played game of any kind on Steam, now behind only Battle Royale PUBG. Black Myth Wukong remains the top-selling game on Steam, and player numbers are expected to grow even further as we lead into the game's first weekend. Sony does not make PlayStation player numbers publicly available. Black Myth Wukong is clearly a huge hit globally, but is particularly popular in China, where it has broken through into the mainstream. Based on Steam concurrence, the majority of the game's players are in China, but there is still a huge audience for Black Myth Wukong in the West. In a blog post, Daniel Ahmad, Director of Research and Insights at Nico Partners, said Black Myth Wukong's sales success represents the growing capabilities and ambitions of Chinese game development studios and the ability to compete on the global stage. Given Games Science has said Black Myth Wukong has hit 3 million concurrent players across all platforms, we can deduce the Steam PS5 split. Black Myth Wukong's Steam concurrent peak so far is 2,415,714, which means its PS5 concurrent peak is around 600,000. Ahmad tweeted to say Steam is the leading platform by far due to the large skew towards Chinese players who primarily play on PC. An Xbox Series X and S version was set to launch alongside the other versions, but it was delayed without a new release date. At the time, Game Science pointed to optimization on the Xbox as the reason for the delay. We are currently optimizing the Xbox Series version to meet our quality standards, so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms, the developer said. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. Microsoft released a statement of its own, one it's still pointing to now that hints at some sort of deal between Game Science and Sony. We're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S, and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms, a Microsoft spokesperson said in a statement sent to IGN. We can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that. IGN has reported on a super cool Black Myth Wukong secret that lets you summon one boss to beat another boss while you basically do nothing, and how one optional boss encountered very early in the game is absolutely destroying players. While you're here, IGN has plenty more Black Myth Wukong guides to help you out, including essential tips and tricks, things Black Myth Wukong doesn't tell you, and our boss list and guides. Meanwhile, developer Game Science has apologized for any tech or performance issues players have encountered since Black Myth, Wukong's record-breaking launch earlier this week, and promised patches are coming. IGN's Black Myth Wukong review returned an 8 out of 10. We said despite some frustrating technical issues, Black Myth Wukong is a great action game with fantastic combat, exciting bosses, tantalizing secrets, and a beautiful world. Also, this week, IGN verified an email sent from the Black Myth Wukong marketing team that told content creators who were granted a Steam key that they must not include feminist propaganda or use what are called trigger words, such as COVID-19, in their coverage. Game Science has yet to respond to IGN's previous report, compiling numerous sexist comments made by the studio's founders and other developers spanning the last decade. And comments, Basket Case 9463 goes, well deserved. I'm about halfway through, and it's currently my game of the year. Incredible combat and level design that gets better as the game progresses, with so many secrets and cool moments. My only complaint is I wish it was more challenging, but other than that, it's a truly amazing video game. Mr. Guy Gamer goes, are you very good at video games? I guess specifically action Twitch heavy video games. I ask because I'm decent, but wouldn't consider myself to be very good. I had been excited for this one, but when Mitchell Saltzman and Mark Medina both said it was very difficult, equal to more so than Shadows of the Eritrea, it made me think this game is probably not for me. It sounds like if you wish this one was more difficult, you're probably very good at these games. I see that you played Elden Ring. How would you compare Wukong to that? Or the Ender Tree if you played it? I played the last dungeon in Arrow Tree Unlocked and could go to fight the final boss, but that's probably only due to Scatter Tree fragments and my Mimic Tail. And a reply goes, it's a lot easier than Elden Ring. There are some abilities you unlock in this game that are really OP and just obliterate bosses. I'm also shocked that guys like Mitchell Salzman would say this game is hard. It isn't. And Mr. Guy Gamer goes, cool, thank you for the reply. Now I have to rethink whether or not I want to give it a shot. So, what do you think? Well, you were the one who brought up the story. So, what do you want to say about it?
Well, Black Myth Wukong was mentioned as only as far back as like 2 years ago with one of the YouTuber gamers by the name of Young Yeah, and I would not know about it until later on, that year and a half later, ever, because Young Yeah brought it to light on, and so the trailer with him and stuff like that, he was showed it to the audience and all in the recorded video, and it looked good. It was very decent, based off of Chinese superstition. The Chinese historical artwork and stuff like that, and that of that form. Obviously, it's based off of mention of the superficial monkey or the year of the monkey, what I want to call it. In my opinion, it's just based on my perspective, of course. So it's like, it's not sexist or racist in my opinion. Obviously, it's based off, like I said, it's based off China's culture and what they learn about history and all. Yes, it's been like what's that called, a tenure, a trend where most of Chinese people don't you look at black people as a bad thing. That's what it's like in China here. But other than that, their culture is still valuable in my opinion. That's not so bad. Me personally, I've always wanted to play a game like something like Wukong. In my perspective, well, this is what I hear too among other gamers who are like into the Dark Souls. They think that Wukong is like the Dark Souls of gaming, kind of like that format, because obviously it's challenging, at the same time it's interactive. I saw the boss battle stuff like that. It depends on the ice or some sort of like ice pterodactyl or ice bird or some shit. It was pretty cool how he was fighting against this thing. It was very interactive and shit. But you have to, it doesn't hold your hand. It looks like it. You have to just make sure you see the patterns of the boss movements, stuff like that, and you'll get the job done over time. But it still looks challenging in my opinion. I always want to get a copy of it if it's on the Xbox One cloud gaming at best, you know. But at this rate, it's only going to be for PS4, PS5, and PC. So I got to either get a better PC or a PS5, you know, either or. And it looks good. I have to say. Hopefully, it will be successful in the long term. I mean, that's every 10 million copies for it might be like $1 billion in sales. In the next month. Goodness forbid. Goodness if ever. That's great. It's looks good. I have to say. So
Okay. I have to say, you know, that's an impressive sales figure. I mean, I thought Grand Theft Auto 5, when it came out, making like $1 billion in 3 days was impressive, or a billion. But Black Myth Wukong's just blowing that out of the water, making that look like making that
looks similar at first.
yeah,
In
it's
sales.
yeah. So I mean, and looks like Black Myth Wukong is about to make a whole lot more money than Grand Theft Auto 5 did, because it's only 3 days old. Um, so and it's not even on all platforms. It's PlayStation and PC only, because the Xbox port was delayed. So, yeah, so it's just impressive. This is actually one of the bright spots of modern gaming. We always talk about how negative our views are towards gaming modern, but this is something to be happy about. So if you do like action RPGs, um, or action games or RPGs, I guess Black Myth Wukong is for you if you have a PS4, PS5, or a PC that can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with that, that's the end of the 105th episode of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I hope you enjoyed this. Follow me if you did. Dr. Games 101, do you have any plans for tomorrow?
Not tomorrow specifically, but definitely for the next few days, as always. I've been doing Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay, as well as this game called Kami, in short. I did it about that a few days ago, so I'll be doing more gameplay of Cyberpunk. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a full gameplay of Cyberpunk. It might take me at least like 20 to 25 sessions of Cyberpunk, but I'll do my best over the next few months to do more of that, at least that. I'll continue more doing the Metal Gear Solid 3, not the remake, but the Metal Gear Solid 3 original for the HD at the collection back in 2011, 2012 for the Xbox
Okay.
316. I would continue doing more of that part 5 now and beyond. So I should finish that within the next couple months at most, if I can put my mind to it as well too. So that's all I have to say for the time being.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any plans for tomorrow exactly, but Dr. Games 101 does have a birthday next week, next Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Um, and I'm also like, I have a game in mind, that I want to get him, that's on his wish list. But I'm also going to try to get him to stream it that day, on Twitch. So you might want to check out Dr. Games 101. Why don't you plug your Twitch channel? See if other people join you on your birthday.
Yeah, sure. It's Dr. Gaze 101, like my that of my gamer tag on Xbox, and as well as my YouTube. Um, I've been on that. I've been having Dr. Gaze 101 on Twitch since 2016, 2017 of that name. So there's still past streams of this podcast, as well as some gameplay I did over the last 3 4 years, like that Resident Evil or other games as well. So
Okay. Yeah. So going to see if I can get him on Friday to stream the game that I get him for his birthday. Um, I don't. As for Friday, I know I'm off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know if my job is going to make us come in a week from Monday, because that's Labor Day. I know, like, 4th of July, they had like a skeletal crew. I don't know what if they're doing that, or I doubt they're gonna have everyone come in on Labor Day. Um, so if I, but I do have a guaranteed 3 day vacation, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
okay.
So the 30th, the 31st, and the first, I'm definitely off. The second, I would imagine so, because like I said, even if my job does have us come in, it's going to be just a few people, like they did 4th of July. But nothing's definite yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe I would do something, but I'm also putting a lot of time towards my store, towards my online marketplaces. You can find my website um, in my Twitch links, and as well as the video description of the clips that are uploaded on YouTube. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we end things for tonight?
That's about it for the time being.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll join us in 2 weeks' time. Let me see what date that is on the schedule, on the calendar. That's going to be September 7th. We'll start again at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until next time, good night, everyone.
There, guys.